In the high-stakes world of the NFL, emotions run deep, and decisions can make or break careers. But what happens when you feel misled by the very team that promised to build around you? Kirk Cousins, the seasoned quarterback with over a decade of experience, recently opened up about a shocking twist in his career, one that involved his own future and the Atlanta Falcons' plans for their next franchise QB. Decision to draft quarterback Michael Penix Jr. in the 2024 NFL Draft, especially after he signed a massive $100 million deal with the team just weeks earlier. Now, for the first time, Cousins is sharing his side of the story, revealing how this unexpected move left him feeling a little bit misled. In a candid interview on Netflix's quarterback series, Cousins opened up about how the Falcons' shocking draft choice affected him both professionally and emotionally. But there's more to this story than just a draft pick. From contract negotiations to shoulder injuries, Cousins' journey in Atlanta has been anything but smooth. Stick around as we break down his reaction to being benched, the Falcons' quarterback dilemma, and what might come next for the veteran QB. Cousins' path to Atlanta seemed set in stone. After years with the Minnesota Vikings, he was poised for a fresh start with the Falcons. He was their guy, their centerpiece for 2024 and beyond. But the Falcons had other plans. With the 8th overall pick in the 2024 draft, they selected Michael Penix Jr., a young QB they saw as the future face of the franchise. For Cousins, that decision came as a shock. He had been briefed on the possibility of the Falcons drafting a quarterback, but not this high. He wasn't prepared for them to take someone like Penix, especially after signing that monumental contract. He admits on quarterback that if he had known the Falcons were going to draft a quarterback in the first round, it might have influenced his decision to re-sign with the Vikings. Certainly, if I had the information around free agency, it certainly would have affected my decision. I had no reason to leave Minnesota, with how much we loved it there, if both teams are going to be drafting a quarterback high. But I've also learned in 12 years in this league that you're not entitled to anything. It's all about being able to earn your spot and prove yourself. At the time, Cousins wasn't aware of Penix being the Falcons' target. He only found out when offensive coordinator Zach Robinson called him just as the Falcons were on the clock. Fast forward to the 2024 season, and Cousins found himself in a difficult position. Just as he was starting to hit his stride with the Falcons, disaster struck. A hard hit in Week 10 from New Orleans Saints defensive end Peyton Turner left Cousins with a shoulder injury. Despite knowing something was wrong, he kept playing, afraid that if he sat out, Penix would take over and never give the job back. And that's exactly what happened. The Falcons went into a tailspin, losing 4 straight games after that injury. During that stretch, Cousins threw 8 interceptions and no touchdowns, the worst stretch of his entire 13-year career. It was clear that the injury was affecting his performance, but Cousins kept fighting through the pain, determined not to give up his starting role. You also know that if you sit down Week 10 and take 2 or 3 weeks or more to let it heal, you may never get your job back. I remember reading Drew Brees' book back in 2010 when he first wrote it, how he made the point that he tried to never let his backup see the field, even if it was somebody who was really no threat. He just felt like you should never do that. Cousins didn't want to be Wally Pitt, a reference to the famous baseball story of Lou Gehrig replacing an injured Wally Pipp. Cousins' fear? If he stepped aside Penix would seize the opportunity and his job would be gone for good. Despite his best efforts, Cousins was eventually benched in Week 16. Penix took over as starter, but couldn't turn the Falcons' season around, as the team finished 1-2 in the games he started, ultimately missing the playoffs. By then, the writing was on the wall. Everyone expected the Falcons to part ways with Cousins in the offseason, but the team surprised many by picking up his $10 million bonus in March, keeping him on the roster. Falcons GM Terry Fontenot made it clear that Cousins was more valuable as a backup to Penix, especially since Atlanta was already on the hook for $27.5 million of his salary this season. Cousins reflected on his benching with maturity. It hurts to go into work, but you got to be an adult. You got to be a grown man and handle it with maturity. I feel sorry for myself and it's hard to do, but that's what you got to do. So, what's next for Kirk Cousins? As training camp looms, his future with the Falcons is uncertain. While it seems unlikely the team will cut him, they're also open to listening to trade offers, especially if another team is willing to take on some of his guaranteed money. But one thing's for sure, whether he's Penix's backup or starting for another team, Cousins' NFL journey is far from over. What do you think? Will Cousins be able to bounce back and prove he still has what it takes to be a starter in the NFL? Or is his best role now that of a backup? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get the conversation going. And hey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more NFL updates, and share this video with your fellow football fans. We'll keep you up to date on all things NFL, so stay tuned. From shock draft picks to tough injuries, Kirk Cousins' NFL journey is one full of twists and turns. Stay with us as we continue to cover the latest stories, and as always, thanks for watching.